All right. Well, that was a forgettable performance by the Lakers. After losing to Boston and kind of giving them a run in the first half of that game, at least, the Lakers lost LeBron, and now they've lost two straight because they couldn't even beat the Brooklyn Nets in Brooklyn, which is pretty sad. I mean, it's. I, I'm kind of lost for words, but at the same time, I mean, I'm not shocked. It was a typical trap game for the Lakers, right? First game without LeBron. LeBron's done, or at least out for 1 to 2 weeks. Supposedly, that's the timeline at the moment. I think that'll change. I think it'll be longer than that, but he'll be reevaluated at some point. There's been like kind of conflicting reports. Like one was, he'd be reevaluated today or tomorrow, and now it's like it's just this 1 to 2 week thing, which is very vague. So who knows when he's coming back? But I mean, his presence not being out there was pretty obvious. I mean, I'd say the real concerning thing about this game, they were shorthanded. First of all, a lot of guys not playing in this game. LeBron, obviously, Rui's still not back. He probably won't be back until Sunday at the earliest, if not next week. And he had Gabe Vincent starting. Check this out real quick, so I don't mess any of this up. Alex Len starting, which was surprising, considering he's just done absolutely nothing since he signed with Lakers, and that trend continued. He played 13 minutes as a starter tonight. 13 minutes. And he couldn't stay on the floor. 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 0 points, 1 shot attempt. The rebounding is the biggest concern because in this game, they just got killed on the glass. I mean, Brooklyn was getting second chance points like almost every time down the floor, and that proved to be the difference. I mean, the Lakers didn't lose this by much. They lost it by 3 points. It was 111, 108. They could have turned the tip, and they tried. They tried to, kick it in a high gear. It was too little too late, right? I think Luka hit a deep shot. Reaves, who was just god awful tonight, I felt bad for him. He just couldn't hit anything. He went 3 for 14 from the field. He scored almost all of his points from the free throw line. I mean, granted, this is why Reaves is good and bad, right? Like Reaves can have these super hot and cold nights, but I could see him getting better as an all around basketball player, right? So, yes, he shot 3 for 14 today, but credit one, he kept shooting. You have to keep shooting. You can't just crawl into a hole and just disappear. He kept shooting, and all power to him for that. I mean, I'm sure some fans are really frustrated at him, and I get it because he is a hot and cold guy. But he went 10 for 11 from the line, 10 for 11. He just kept fighting, kept trying to get to the line, and he did. And then 8 rebounds and 10 assists. So even with that, he scored 17 points, 10 assists, and grabbed 8 rebounds. He was 2 rebounds shy of a triple double on an off night. That shows you how good he is. He's a great player. But there's just these nights where that shot just doesn't fall and it hurts him. I mean, he went 1 for 5 from deep, and I think that 3 that he hit was a little bit of a prayer. Luka didn't fare much better, even though he got a triple double. He had 12 assists, 12 rebounds, 2 steals, 5 turnovers again, which keeps popping up as a problem. But when you have the ball in your hands that much, I mean, those are going to be higher than most people, right? 22 points, and he didn't shoot well either. He went 8 for 26 from the floor, 3 for 10 from deep. Not a great night for him. His energy was sorely lacking. I think all of them was lacking. I think that 8-game win streak, like that, all that momentum, all that energy going into that, and then getting beat handedly by Boston in Boston, with all that atmosphere and rivalry and all that stuff, with Luka's first game against the Celtics as a Laker. A lot of hype with that game. Like, Jesus, the ESPN was doing everything they could to promote that game. And then LeBron goes down, right? And then Luka looked like he wasn't this, the same physically. Like he grabbing his back. He just didn't look right. Tonight, not so much, but his energy just wasn't there. There's just a lot of plays where I saw he just kind of checked out. Like guys are like just running past him and he makes no effort to close out on them. Some concerning things where I could see where the frustration is in terms of his intensity on the defensive end. Yeah, he had 2 steals. He got his hands in some passing lanes, some sweet dishes. I mean, one especially to don't connect, cutting to the basket. Connect had a great game. Probably the best. Well, not the best at the 3 because he pretty good for him. 17 points off the bench in 24 minutes. He had 8 rebounds, 1 steal, 6 for 8 from the floor, and he went 5 for 6 from deep. Pretty damn good. He seems to be coming into his own with Luka. Like he's knowing he's going to get those shots, right? And especially no Rui either. So he was prepared, he was ready. But the guys that I was really impressed with tonight, in a losing effort, was Gabe Vincent and Jordan Goodwin. They balled out. I mean, Vincent has completely changed the narrative around him. I mean, I know Lakers fans just wanted to ship him out as more than anybody at one point, because he just looked like a shell of his old self. And there's all these comparisons to, Kendrick Nunn and his time in Miami. Both those guys, playing really well in Miami and then coming to LA and just kind of disappearing, and getting hurt and barely been able to play. And now he's been able to stay healthy consistently, and he's putting up shots. He's same thing with Connect. It's like Gabe knows he's going to get these open looks, and frequently, especially if he's knocking them down, and he's knocking them down. He went 6 for 9 from deep today, and all of his shots look good except for one, from what I remember. One was pretty bad. It was an air ball. But 8 for 12 from the floor, 3 assists. I mean, he doesn't. That's the one thing with Gabe. He doesn't do a lot other than these occasional scoring bursts. He had 24 points. This is a season high for him. His best game as a Laker, arguably. I have to go back and look at stats and stuff, but this one sticks out to me because he just seems so locked in. In fact, they probably should have gone to him more often. Maybe the score would be different. And then Jordan Goodwin, who I've fallen in love with this guy. And you know what? I screwed that up with Connect. Connect had 19 points, and he went 8 for 18 from the floor and 3 for 9 from deep. So not a great shooting night. But Goodwin is the one that had 17 points and 8 rebounds off the bench. I'd mix that up because it's usually that's because Connect started tonight. He never starts, right? I think he has maybe a handful of starts in his Lakers career so far, and it's always because of injuries. But yeah, Goodwin has just been a solid pickup, man. Like he just, whenever he plays with intensity. He plays like his life depends on it. He's one of those guys where he wants an NBA contract, like a long-term one, or even, a short 2 years or something, as bad as anybody I've seen in a long time. And he's making a case for it, if not with the Lakers, somewhere else in the summer. But he's been great. Like he's been so good to where Cam Reddish has disappeared from the rotation completely. Shake Milton only played 6 minutes, so he's become completely out of the rotation as well. He's gonna be a guy they're gonna lean on, and I think they should, because he's proven that he's damn good. He's a great defender, and he can hit shots when given the opportunity. Missed 2 shots tonight, 2 shots in 24 minutes, 17 points, 8 rebounds, and a steal. And what I love is the guy's effort on defense. You can't these days. You can't teach that to guys in the NBA. They're just so set on 3-point shooting and scoring, and that's everything else takes a back seat, right? Especially defense. Not him. That guy's all effort all the time. Just like Jemison, I feel the same way. But Jemison, it's other things he does on the floor that it's kind of cringeworthy. But he did okay. Decent. I mean, he doesn't do anything scoring wise, which is kind of a bummer for a guy that's strong. And 2 blocks, 3 rebounds, 2 points in 18 minutes, only 3 attempts. But he had 4 personal fouls. Yeah, that's not a big deal. It's not like he got booted or anything. But I mean, there's a couple plays where you're just like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? But other plays where I'm just like, oh, I love that. He's physical. He's probably the most physical guy on the floor, right? When he's out there, no matter who else is out there, which I love for a guy on a 2-way, So, and then Alex Len is a total disappointment. That must be one of the most regrettable signings in recent memory. I know it's still early and he's only played a handful of games, but he just doesn't bring anything to the table at all. At all. I think JJ was just tonight. I was like, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity to give him a shot, right? Give him a shot against a team that's not great. They have some pretty good bigs, right? With what's I always get his name wrong. Dayron Sharp, I like. And then Nick Claxton, good bigs. I mean, the good young bigs. I actually heard before the deadline that they were looking at those guys, and they wanted to trade for those guys because Nets were fielding all sorts of trade calls because of um, Cam Johnson, right? Who would have been cool on the Lakers too, but I guess what they were asking for was just too much, and no team was willing to do it. So that's a bummer, but whatever. So it was a weak performance all around, and it's kind of concerning because if they got to run with this crew for a while, that's not good, right? Especially with the buzzsaw they're going to go into on Wednesday. Or is it Wednesday or Thursday? No, it's Thursday. Thursday. So they got a couple days, but they play Milwaukee in Milwaukee on Thursday, and then they play Denver in Denver on Friday. And then they play Phoenix in LA on Sunday in an early game, like 12:30 Pacific. So, I mean, Phoenix, you're not really scared of Phoenix anymore. They don't really bring a big threat unless KD's going off or Booker's going off. Excuse me. But this squad doesn't have a chance against those two big dogs. They just don't. Luka's kind of hot and cold. He shot 26 attempts tonight, 26, and he just didn't look like there was any flow. I mean, a few sweet passes here and there, and he's a sneaky rebounder, right? Like you don't notice it a lot, but I think I said in a prior podcast or live or whatever that kind of reminds me of Jason Kidd that way, right? Jason Kidd was always in the right spot at the right time to grab the rebounds, and that's why he got triple doubles all the time. Luka's the same way. I think they put up a graphic of triple doubles for active players, and I think Russell Westbrook's at the top, and there's like Jokic below him, and then like LeBron, and then Luka. And Luka's not far away from LeBron. He's gonna pass him sooner or later. I think LeBron's got like 122, and Luka's in the 80s or something like that. But whatever. The point is, this could be a rough stretch for the Lakers, and it's they got to get healthy bodies back, man. It's rough. No Jackson Hayes. DFS was a scratch today. Like I didn't expect that. I don't think anybody did. You figure, especially against his old team, you'd want kind of like a revenge game. You would think that for D'Angelo Russell too, but he didn't really do anything today. I mean, D'Angelo Russell was the typical, this is why they traded him performance. 8 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals in 29 minutes. He shot the ball 9 times. This guy should be averaging like 25 points a game. I mean, it is potential-wise 25 points a game. I mean, that's not reality, really. Like his true average is should probably be around like 19, 20 points to 21, something like that. Like what Reaves does is what Russell should do every night. But it's like that with him. It's like it just one night he's killing it. The next night it's like he just completely disappears. I don't understand it at all. But I am kind of glad they moved off him because of stuff like that. Like could you have more motivation? He even had a chance to like seal the deal tonight. They still won with a shot with seconds, ticking down in the fourth, like in the last minute, and he bricked it. And I'm just like, dude, the same thing happened the last time he played the Lakers. And I think he missed the game-winning 3. Whatever, though. I mean, Lakers moved on from him. I'm kind of glad. I mean, you put that in perspective with Jordan Goodwin, right? Jordan Goodwin outplayed D'Angelo Russell in 24 minutes off the bench in every aspect: defense, offense, crash it in the glass. It's kind of sad that way. But hey, look, the Lakers got a steal there. He's a great player. Gabe Vincent's coming along. The positives here are very good, but in terms, I do feel like this is going to, if this continues, which I kind of think it will, because I don't think all of a sudden they're going to be, back to kicking ass against Milwaukee all of a sudden after a 2-game rest on the road. They're going to need those 2 days for sure. But I don't think it's just going to be all of a sudden a bounce back and oh God, look at here's the Lakers again. Here's that 2 seed Lakers again. In fact, did they drop again today? I think Denver lost to OKC last night, so that changed things. Let me see. So yeah, they're in the 3rd spot too, but they're a full game back at Denver now. So that game against Denver is important, and then the one after that's important because, like I said the last time, they got this back-to-back here, right? And then they have another back-to-back, Phoenix and San Antonio, Sunday and Monday, but that's in LA. And then I think they have 1 day off, and then I think it's Denver, Milwaukee, or either or, like right. They play consecutive back-to-back against those guys. It's 3 back-to-backs. It's insane. It's brutal, especially for a team this banged up. That sucks. I mean, you're probably going to see some resting for Luka here. I wouldn't be surprised in one of those 2 games coming up against Milwaukee and Denver, which sucks because it changes the whole feel for that. But at the same time, you got to manage that guy. I mean, he looked like he sprained his ankle today because he got crossed up pretty good. He walked it off, but sometimes those things linger until you take your shoe off, and all of a sudden your ankle goes like that. I don't think that's going to be the case, but you never know. And then there's obviously the back thing which, I mean, he played tonight. He probably shouldn't have played tonight. I mean, yeah, don't play him. Like you got the guys that are willing to step up and it's, it sucks, but I mean, you look at the lineup, like what did they hope was going to happen? I mean, if Reaves didn't have an off night tonight, they probably win this game. Right. And I think they probably win by 5 or 10, but that's what happened. And now that the bad momentum is going to carry over to this back-to-back on the road, which is going to be rough. And I know Milwaukee's doing the kind of rest stars thing too, and then Denver is as well. I think Jokic is a little banged up right now. I think he's got an elbow thing going on. So who knows who plays in those games, but the Lakers have to start thinking about what they're doing here and who should be on the floor and who shouldn't, and what games to prioritize. So it's going to be interesting. It's a bummer because of all the the good vibes and the momentum this team had going into Boston, and now that's just gone. It's a punch in the gut, man. It's like I'm looking at the standings now, and they're the only team outside of OKC who's lost the game recently. Everybody else has a win streak or they won 1 game. That's a bummer. And the guys underneath the Lakers are all on a streak. All of them. Clippers have won 3. Minnesota's won 5 in a row. Golden State's won 4 in a row. And they're red hot since the Butler trade. Houston's won 3 in a row. Memphis has won 3 in a row. So it's not like the Lakers can't take their foot off the gas because they're going to drop like a rock in the West standings if they're not careful. I mean, that's how competitive this is. I mean, you get down to, Sacramento and Dallas, and that's kind of a whole nother discussion. Dallas has lost 5 straight, and they're in the 10th spot right now. Sacramento's in the 9th spot, and they've lost 1 game. They actually won 6 out of 4. So it's tough. This is why the West is so brutal this season, because all these teams, they get hot like this because they're talented and they're young and they're ready and they're hungry, right? So those next 2 games are going to be pretty telling about where this team is headed in the immediate future, like within for the rest of March for one, and then there's only a handful of games in April, and then the playoffs start. So this is where the seeding starts coming into play, and they drop too far, they're going to end up playing OKC or Denver in the first round, and that is a nightmare scenario for this team. So the last thing they want. They want to get through some easy peasy matchups before they get to the big boys, right? Get some experience and some chemistry going against teams that you play consecutively, and then face the really tough teams. But right now, dude, I mean, so what? Where are they at right now? So where they face Houston? No, it'd be Golden State. That'd be interesting. That would be interesting. That wouldn't surprise me either. So if it all stays the way it is, and it's possible, I don't think so. I think they're going to drop. It's Golden State in the first round. That's it's a bummer. I mean, you want to play the Clippers, you want to play Minnesota, you want to play some of these teams that are just kind of not. They're good, but they're not great. They're beatable. And get that momentum going in the postseason, and then face OKC, Denver. I even wouldn't mind Memphis or Houston in the first round, but the way it's shaping up, I mean, you just don't know. You just don't know where this is going to go. I'm not going to fall as far as the play-in. I think that's kind of crazy, but I guess you just never know. I mean, so what was it? 63 games. They played 63 games, so they got 19 to go. 19 to go, and a good chunk of that, and potentially, I mean, half of that is going to be without LeBron, right? More than likely. I think there's no point of rushing him back. But then again, if they do start plummeting like this, they might hit the panic button or do something stupid and throw him back out there too soon. And then there's Luka, who's looks a little banged up still. So I don't know. It's gonna be a rocky few weeks here. Hopefully there's some sparks. Hopefully there's some fight from these guys, and you see some more Goodwin and Vincent and connect games where they're picking up the slack. But I think they lost to Brooklyn tonight. Brooklyn, to put it in perspective, is 22-42. Before this game, so they've lost 8 out of their last 10 games, including tonight. So that's perspective for you right there, man. They're fighting for the play-in. And I don't even think these guys are. This is the team that's like tanking, essentially, right? They had no incentive to win tonight, but they did. Just not good, man. It's just not good. Let me see Milwaukee real quick. Let's see. Milwaukee's on a little bit of a slide. They've lost 2 in a row, but they've won 7 out of their last 10. So, and I know they've got something going on with Giannis and Dame. It's just every day those guys are on the injury report for something, and it's like goes up all the way up to game time before you know whether or not they're going to play. And like I said, Denver's won 6 out of the last 10. They just won their last game. So, but they're going to be tough. They're going to want to beat the crap out of the Lakers, especially on their home floor after what the Lakers did last time. So it's going to be interesting, no doubt, but it could be rough. So until then, people, hopefully some positive things come on. So maybe we get some good health updates on some of the guys like Hayes and Rui and DFS. Hopefully that's not a problem. It's just been a lot of those kind of games where he's missed, where it's just like all of a sudden he's on the report and he's out. So where did that come from? But yeah, so until then, I'll hop back on after that and see where that goes.